this 8-1 Supreme Court vote, which happened as we closed out the week last week. A huge win, by the way, for the Biden administration over immigration laws, which is now going to make it a lot more difficult for border officials to deport illegal migrants who cross illegally. Joining us now for more, former acting CBP Commissioner Mark Morgan and attorney and Turning Point USA contributor Erin Elmore back with us. Great to have you both on. Erin, just run us through, legally speaking, what this ruling means from the Supreme Court.
All right. So it was an 8-1 ruling, which is a significant majority. It was written by Justice Brett Kavanaugh. We all know what he went through during his confirmations hearings. And basically, they said that there's a lack of constitutional standing under Article 3 of the Constitution. So basically, Texas and Louisiana don't have the ability to challenge the executive branch. And the only one that dissented was Bush W., who appointed Justice Samuel Alito. And he said, the executive branch of our government is not a king, whereas all of the other justices in their either majority or the concurrence said we don't have the ability to oversee the executive branch.
Yeah.
So this is sort of a technicality, and it's very troubling. And the case that they relied on as precedent is Linda R.S. versus Richard D., which is also a problem because that's a state child support case. Now, Brett Kavanaugh did say, and I quote, "The states have not cited any precedent," so there's no history on this, "or traditions of courts ordering the executive branch to change or basically to change arrest or prosecution policies."
Okay.
So they made it very technical, but that doesn't change the fact that this is a massive win for the Biden administration. And now there is no place for recourse. So Texas and Louisiana are fending for themselves on the border, period. Hard stop.
All right. Thank you for the setup, Erin. Let me bring in Mark. Texas Governor Greg Abbott tweeted immediately after this ruling came down, "This decision is outrageous. SCOTUS just gave the Biden administration carte blanche to avoid accountability for abandoning enforcement of immigration laws." Mark, I want to get your reaction and just the fact that now, if one of these people on the terrorist watch list crosses illegally, they might not have to be deported.
Yeah, Rob, look, and I think it's very important what she just said. It's technical. The good side, I'm not trying to make lemonades out of lemons here, is that it was not, this ruling was not based on the merits. They didn't go into the facts. So they didn't say what the states were saying wasn't correct. What they were, again, very narrowly focused. And what was, thank God for Justice Alito, because he also talked about that with respect to this is that it's very narrowly focused and that it doesn't prevent states altogether from deciding what is based on prosecutorial discretion. That's what this is about. But he said, however, here's a key part, that unless the federal government wholly abandons their responsibility, here's why I think they missed it. Here's why I think the decision is wrong, because this administration has wholly abandoned their responsibilities. This is the same secretary, Rob, that said being in the country here illegally is not of itself enough to remove you. That is contradiction with respect to the law. This is going to absolutely give this secretary carte blanche to continue with his lack of enforcement. And the result is more criminals are going to be walking the streets of our country.
Yeah, and there's so much going on, Erin. I know sometimes, it's tough to stay focused on what's been happening at the southern border because this is nothing new. It's been going on for 2.5 years. Ron DeSantis was down at the border over the weekend. He released a new campaign video. He's going to release his immigration plan in a couple hours. We'll bring you that here today on Newsmax. How does this, Erin, play a role in the fight for the GOP nomination? These candidates are going to have to take the border seriously, aren't they?
They absolutely are. And we even see people in Democrat-led cities like Chicago and New York that are saying enough is enough. We see that migrants right now are sleeping on the doorstep of the Chicago police station because they feel that they are safer there. We saw young children being essentially displaced from their schools in New York City because migrants were living in the gyms. So this could actually be an issue that we get a lot of Democrats to cross over and say, enough is enough. Our cities are being overrun. We're seeing fentanyl pour through the border into every city and every state, causing the loss of life of mothers, daughters, fathers, children. So this could be that big issue that Republicans really need to focus on and say, law and order in this country needs to be restored. We need to secure our border. Enough is enough.
Yeah, great point. Mark, just about 20 seconds, final thought.
Yeah, the video you're just showing, I think Governor DeSantis hits it spot on. His policy revolves around the same thing we did under the Trump administration: deterrence, consequences, and put integrity back in the system, and doing things like restoring the Remain in Mexico program, Indian catch and release, and physically securing our borders with building the wall. Those are all the tenements that were successful under the Trump administration. If DeSantis does it, he'll be successful as well.
It is ironic, Mark, that all these candidates are campaigning now on building the wall. That was blasphemy when Donald Trump brought it up for the first time in 2015, and now it's policy. We'll pick this conversation up again soon. Mark Morgan, Erin Elmore, great to have you on. Thank you.
Thank you.